What have I done? Hola, me llamo Tymon y este es Slight Adrift. Bienvenidos. This video is a pretty cool one. I've had this idea up in my head movies. For quite a while now, and it's time to bring it into the world, into fruition. I've got this TP32, I believe it is, from Simrad Autopilot. I want to install that. It should talk with my B&G gear. I have also got this little remote control so I can operate it remotely from anywhere on the boat. And I have this radio controller, and obviously now with my boat being electric, the throttle being a tiny little potentiometer inside of there, there's actually not that much resistance forward and back. So I thought I could operate it remotely with a radio controller. This thing here that I've got has got 6 channels. I want to wire it into one channel here, and then I was thinking I have another 5 channels. I'm going to try and hook up one of the other channels to my electric winch and see if that works. This is going to be one of a 2-part little series. I don't really know the little niche cases where this is going to come into its own. Obviously, autopilot, remote, everyone knows how that's going to work, but I really want to know how this is going to work. What little like niche cases is this just going to be absolutely awesome? I have a few ideas where it could possibly work, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot more where I'll be like, oh yeah, let's use that. That'll be way better and way easier. All right, let's get this started. Today, we learn. Lucky for me, the previous hole for the old autopilot fits. So does the pin, so I won't have to install a pin, and I also won't have to install the little sort of cradle nut that the autopilot sits in, which is awesome. I will take that win. I've got the Simrad TP32. It is the Tillerpilot from Simrad. That is the largest one that I could buy. It is one that will also talk well with my B&G equipment. B&G don't particularly make one, but Simrad, B&G, and there's another one, maybe Lawrence, they're all part of the same sort of conglomerate company. But unfortunately, I had to buy this little extension because Simrad have their own system with their own proprietary plugs, and so even though Simrad and B&G are part of the same company, I had to buy this little adapter to make it talk from Simrad to straight Enemy A2000. Providing an awesome product and then giving you the worst crappy little screws that thread straight away. Luckily, I've come prepared. Okay, back in my lair. So this is the back of the plug here, and lucky for me, previous Tymon was a little smart meerkat, and he's pre-wired in power source and also the NMEA plug. This is the little Bluetooth receiver from the remote for the autopilot. I really want to put it here, but the only way to do that is to obviously drill the hole. The only way to access this little inside part here is through that hatch in there. Otherwise, take out the window, but yeah, I don't want to put it there that badly. All right, let's see how I go. Does anyone know what that tune is? Oh man, 2 drills is literally the best luxury when it comes to DIY. Now I have another tool on board. Don't tell Kate, she knows I buy too much shit. Whoa, that was way easier than the way I was gonna do it. A little more. Very cool. Flying things are cool. Okay, NMEA cable. Got like a 5-meter cable left. And here's the T section. Okay, it's coming up now. It's connected to the network behind there, and I did it through that. Had to basically be a contortionist to do it. And for a brief period, Tymon forgot what it was like to do boat DIY. I just figured out this doesn't have any torque settings. Is that normal? I mean, time-wise, that just paid for itself. I don't actually know what I've done wrong now. So this is the remote for the autopilot. I've just disconnected that and reconnected it back the way it was, and I'm still not getting my wind or my GPS, which has got to be a connection somewhere, right? I don't know what's going on. It's so frustrating. So frustrating when you just don't know what is happening. This, which is the Trident 2 display, is connected to a multifunctional display, and then there was an end there. And then I put this one in, it's not working, I don't have wind, I don't have GPS. I put it back the original way, I still don't have wind, I still don't have GPS. And now I've just installed it again because I figure it's just some sort of weird issue. I don't know what's going on. I'm going... No GPS fix. I'll figure it out. I'll have to. Blowing 7-8 knots. I've got all my wind data there. I just don't know why it's not showing up on this thing. Maybe the connection in the back of this. That'll be my next thing that I'll try. First of all, can I just say, F you B&G. That was totally unnecessary. That was about 2 hours. What a pain in the ass. If anyone's having the same difficulty, let me just show you this. So I am in the little settings symbol up in the top. I'm in network. I'm in sources. And then I was in advanced. And I was just going through literally every single one and making sure, because you can select, if you have 2 different sources, let's just say you have 2 different sources for GPS, then you can select which one it will be reading it off, so there's no confusion. So you can set everything to read off the same source so that you aren't getting 2 different readings and that sort of stuff. So I'm going through everything, and then I found in the wind angles, apparent wind angle, that wasn't on. As soon as I flicked that on, I got my wind data. So now I'm on the right track. And then up the very top here is auto select, and it just went boom, 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 and now it's working. So yeah, it was something to do with what sources it is reading for what instruments and what data. I don't know why. Why it did that. Device must reset default or something fucking stupid. That's what it is. Let's put the boat back together and see if this thing is working. I'm excited about this. On the side of these 2 AAA batteries, it's got for professional use only. And now it seems to be working. So if I press the standby, it turns it off, and I can engage it like that. And I can also change the mode between wind and heading. When you've got the remote, you can only change it between holding the heading and doing a course to wind. And then I can go 1 degree with a single press, or long press to go 10 degrees. And I can also tack. If I hold these 2 down and we're actually sailing, it'll tack. I've set it to 100 degrees, I think 100 degrees through the wind. Okay, so that is finally rigging working. Okay, good. Now I can be anywhere on the boat and steer. This is a radio control. I think it's mainly for a car because it's got that little wheel on it. I have this waterproof servo. Those of you with a keen eye may have noticed that there is a little hole still remaining here, and hopefully that fits exactly into there. I want to control throttle via remote, and Also, I have 6 channels, so I have 5 more to play with. This winch was originally not self-tailing, and I'm trying to make it self-tailing, and the reason for that was, and I didn't tell you guys, was because I want to control it with this. I can switch this on, and with this remote and the autopilot remote, be able to control my throttle forwards and backwards, and also control the autopilot 1 or 10 degrees at a time. Yeah, not entirely sure whether this is going to work, but win, lose or draw, as long as you get down and tussle, that's gangster. In the specifications, it's got model type, car or boat. Nice, I'm within the specifications. So I have my 12 volt house voltage. Comes into here, it steps it down to 6 volts. It supplies 6 volts, that's a switch, and it also supplies 6 volts to the receiver, which I haven't actually got in here. And then the receiver do the servo, or the receiver can switch this little RC switch on, which will provide power to here, which will step the 6 volts up to 12 volts, turn on the high current relay, and that relay should turn on this. Seems quite simple, and I don't see why it shouldn't work, but I've never done anything like this before. That's the one I want. So my connections for this particular project, some of them at least, I'm using these Wago connectors. I'm not affiliated, obviously. Has anyone used them on a boat long term and actually had real world experience, whether they hold up over time? Also, does anyone know if they are approved by the ABYC, the Australian Boating and Yachting Council? So I'm sort of using them to see how they stand the test of time. All right, the moment of truth. Am I really that far? Power. Take the rope off this winch just in case I've done something wrong and it decides to go all on its own. Just keep it like this until I know everything works. Okay, that wasn't supposed to turn on. But at least something's working. Alright, time to figure out where I've gone wrong. Whoa, immediately I can see how this could very much be a bad idea. I figured out what I did wrong. The instructions were around the wrong way. So does that scream China to anybody else? Now, check this out. Takes a while to sort of wind down, but under load, I think it would slow down a lot quicker. Obviously, I'm gonna have to test that. And it works so far. I still need to drill a hole through there, and to do that I need to move the compass, and so I thought I would take this opportunity to just clean the compass because it's looking a bit ratty, and also swap out this little LED light. It's on there, it doesn't look very bright. This white bright light is just like obnoxiously bright. So with my head torch on red, that's how we've been sailing at night time, because the light is just unusable. Quick trip so I can finish this job. I know it looks silly me wearing the helmet in the tender, but it's just easier that way. Otherwise it rolls around and gets wet.
Yeah. Let go. Hey. When I pull up in my ride, whole squad down the slide. If you're scared, go inside. You ain't stopping this grind. When I pull up in my ride, whole squad down the slide. If you're scared, go inside. You ain't stopping this grind. Somebody tell them don't gas me up. Remember when they used to pass me up like I ain't have enough, but them stacks been stacking up and my stock price going up. Them haters mad for what? Lately shit ain't been adding up. Give you my heart but you can't have my trust. I'm hoping that's enough, cause that success will make them hate you, but I remember when I had your love. When I pull up in my ride, down the slide. If you're scared, go inside. You ain't stopping this grind.
Okay, job's done. That was 22 Ks, a cool 22 Ks on that thing. A breeze, wouldn't have been able to do that with my one wheel. I am liking the electric skate so far. All right, I have this tiny little LED now and the appropriate resistor, so I'll just solder that in. 2,800 millicandles. I like that name, millicandles. Okay, I don't think you guys will be able to see. Oh yeah, you can sort of see the red light in there. Rightio, it's the moment of truth. On. What have I done? Oh, this is actually pretty cool. Very cool. Okay, this is a little sneak peek. Quite soon, this whole galley is going to get redone. And then hopefully not too long after that, this whole area is going to get redone as well. That's getting turned into my master bedroom, master berth. Let's be nautical. This, I really wanted to do that first. Logistically, it makes sense to do that, then that, and then this. But yeah, this is all getting redone, and this is going to be really nice workstation for me to be creative and do all my work. And I'm also going to make a new panel there with all the correct, because right now all the fuses are in there are just like normal little cylindrical fuses, so I'm going to redo a whole new panel with all resettable fuses and run everything, well, almost everything to there, so everything's just not a lot neater, and there's no, as little as possible, like single-use fuses, for lack of a better term. And I've got this label maker, which is like a Bluetooth label maker, not affiliated with anything. And I've also got black for negative, red for positive, and orange for just general anything. So any cables that are running anywhere, or pipes and stuff like that, I can put the direction and I can put what it is. That is just going to make it easier if and when in the future that I sell this. I want everything to be sort of, I'm going to say, to a pretty high standard, so someone can walk in off the street and it's going to be so much easier for them to understand what's going on. I'm not actually thinking of selling the boat, by the way. That's a little bit neater. You can see everything's nice and labeled here. Okay, I've just rigged this up quite quickly so I can show you guys quite possibly one test case of how I'm going to use this. Obviously the lines running to the winch, they need to be perpendicular or level. FlySky, we should hear a very annoying beep come down from the berth, from one of the quarter berths. There we go. It's just a real quick update on what that beep actually is. So I've installed an extra switch and a little speaker to it, which is that sound that you can hear. So I have to turn this on separately as well, and when it is on, you can hear that noise. I don't want this on all the time. I want to be able to use the throttle and not accidentally hit this little switch here and make the winch go. So down here, I'll show you where. There's an extra little switch, and that's the noise. So if I ever turn on the FlySky system and I hear that noise, I know that this winch trigger is also active. I thought I better put that safety in. And now, if I go, so the theory works. That's pretty cool. That is proof of concept. here is the bar entrance. I don't think it's gonna do it. I'm gonna be right here to make sure that I don't run into the rocks, but I'm gonna see if I can do a 180-degree turn with this thing. Okay, here we go. Well, that was a success. In close quarters, able to do a 360 with the autopilot. It is my goal to be able to anchor in there one day. It's called Jack Evans Harbour. It's right close to one of my favourite breaks in the whole entire world. My mate, who's got about the same draft as this boat, has been in there and he said you can do it. But I'm just a little bit too nervous because it's so shallow in there. One time on a real low tide, I hit the bottom in my tender. So every time I press a button, I'm watching for this green light, because that means message is sent and message is received. Yeah, I could get used to this, that's for sure. This, I'm already loving this. Hey, and that's that for another video. Excuse if you can hear any commotion going on outside. It's gusting up to like 30 knots. Or if my guitar falls on top of my head. That's it for this video. I installed this when Kate and I were on our way up to Lady Musgrave, so I've been using it for a couple of months. Simrad, you get 2 asshole credits for A, making the end cap a piece of shit plastic that just broke straight away. I unscrewed it and took it into a machine shop and they machined me 2 little brass ones. One for that and one for making me get the adapter so I can talk to my B&G stuff when Simrad and B&G are basically the same company. That being said, this thing is friggin' awesome. I love it so much. Such a luxury to have this, and the amount of functions that it can do and integrating with my B&G system is just next level. I didn't even realize. This is the first time I've ever been on a boat with autopilot, so very much in the dark up until now and absolutely love it. There's so many different functions on it. I can go keep the heading, go a certain degree into the wind. It can go to my waypoints. I think there's 2 other ones as well. Drift, I don't even know what that is yet. So the waypoints is awesome. So it'll go to my waypoint and it'll go beep and then it'll just go to my next one. Let's just say I need to reef or hoist the main or douse the main. I can just tell it to go directly into the wind at like 0 degrees and then just chuck the motor on, go on 2 knots into the wind. I can just go up there, do what I want to do and then come back and off I go again. So that is so good. As far as the remote is concerned, I just installed that now, so I really can't say too much on it. I know I'm going to love this. It's definitely a luxury item. I can see it really coming into its own. Just all those little times when I can chuck on the autopilot when I've just come in through the seaway because I lashed down my anchor, or if I need to do anything up the front, I can go up there and I can just say keep the heading, and then when it sort of deviates slightly from that, if I'm getting blown off course because of the wind or the tide, I can just adjust it like that. So that is going to be awesome, and having this luxury on board. And then the remote also, I've just installed that, so I don't really know what niche cases it's going to come up with yet. I've already used it twice actually, because my windlass, the clutch actually slips. So when there's a lot of pressure on the chain, it slips. Obviously I've got my bridle, so I don't actually do that. But to take the bridle off when there's so much pressure on it, it's nice to have this little bit of finesse. So I'm up the bow and I can just adjust that just until I see there's just enough pressure off that chain where I can take the chain claw off. That's awesome. Docking, it will be awesome. I definitely know of one time when there was so much wind docking. This was previous to this. I got the bow line on and I didn't have enough time. There was so much wind, I didn't have enough time to get it locked off before the wind started just pushing the boat backwards and I started losing it. My brand new tender did get a little bit crunchy in between the boat and a pontoon. That was unfortunate. It's nothing major. It's a pretty minor fix. It's so minor it doesn't even have to be done right now. I can wait a little bit. My experience wise, I've done a lot of sailing, but docking the boat, I've never been the one docking the boat. I've always been the lackey up the front or somewhere with a rope, you know. All of that I'm very much having to learn that, and this specific boat. So I can see that coming in handy, because if I had this, I could have just taken it with me and I could have gone up the front, got that bow, realized that I needed a little hit forward, off I go, a little bit hit forward, get it on, and then I can take it off again. So this is going to have a lot of little niche cases where it's going to come into its own. I'd really like to hear from you guys. What can you guys come up with in situations where this would be useful, and or I can use the other channels for what? Yeah, please leave it in the comments. I'd really like to hear from you guys. I thought of one test case where if I had a bow thruster, which I don't, and I won't be getting one unless someone wants to donate one. If I had a bow thruster, I could put the bow thruster on this channel here, and I could, because that's a nice little return to home, so as soon as I take my hand off it, the bow thruster would go off. And yeah, I could literally dock my boat forward and reverse and side to side. I could literally dock my boat with this, but that would be pretty cool. But yeah, don't expect to see that. That's it from me, guys. A special thanks to my Patreons and everyone that's made it this far. Thank you so much for watching, you absolute legends. Okay, bye.